Hi everybody, and welcome to another video from Paper Crafting with Tammy. I'm going to show you today how to use your stencils to create a really simple accent for a card or a scrapbook layout or any other kind of a paper project that you're working on. So what you can see are some examples of cards that I made today, all using the same butterfly stencil. The only difference in these cards would be the color palettes that I used, how I accented the butterflies themselves, and then the sentiments that I put on the cards. I'm going to set these aside and show you how to do it. So I'm starting with a stencil that was actually part of a club scrap kit that I got years ago. I believe this one dates all the way back to 2011. And I must confess, I had never used it before today. I actually pulled it out because of a challenge that I was doing on a group, on a Facebook group. So I thought, I am probably not the only one. So I am going to use just a little bit of washi on the edge of this stencil, so I don't have to worry so much about it slipping, okay? And the ink that I'm going to use today is actually a Tim Holtz Distress ink. This one is called Tumbled Glass. And I'm just using a finger dauber, okay? So I'm going to ink up my dauber, and I'm just going to start with my lighter color. So in this case, my lighter color is the blue. And I'm just inking inside the stencil. And if you get ink on the edge of the stencil, it is not a big deal. It washes right off, okay? This stencil has been many colors today. So you really have a lot of control when you're doing this to decide how light and how dark you want your ink to be. And if you want kind of a mottled look, or if you want to keep going until you get it a real consistent color, it is absolutely up to you. And honestly, every one that I did today turned out beautiful. So I don't think that it really matters which choice you decide to make, okay? So I'm going to finish up this. And again, this is just a light blue background for this butterfly. Okay. And I want to have some consistency in my color. It doesn't need to be perfect. And again, it's really personal choice, okay? The paper that I'm using is just a lightweight white cardstock, okay? I'm going to set that one aside. The next color that we're going to use today is called Dusty Concord. Okay. And this one is a purple. And I just really like the way it looks on top of that blue. So the second part of my stencil has that more detailed part. And guys, I have seen stencils like this at craft shops. I've seen them at giveaways, at scrapbook events. I've bought some for $1. So it's just something that keep your eyes open for. Once you start thinking about how you can use them, it may be something you decide you want to add to your collection. Okay? Or maybe you have several sitting somewhere. Okay? You're going to go through this same process with that contrasting color of ink. Just something that's going to work layered on top of whatever you started with. Now, if I'd started with the purple, then that light blue would not have shown up very well on top. So you just want to think about that. Get your lighter color underneath as your background color, and that way whatever you use as your accent will work on top. So you just want to make sure you hit all of the sections. Okay. And get something somewhat consistent. If your butterflies are symmetrical, maybe you could do the top wings lighter and the bottom wings darker, or something like that if you wanted. Or you could just do them all very similar. It's funny, I'm still holding on to this as though I didn't put that tape there. I guess the tape for me is just a guarantee. I still want to be sure. All right, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull this up. Okay. And there's that butterfly with the 2 different tones in it. I do want to do one more thing with this butterfly, but I'm going to let this set for a second before I show you that next step. Okay. So the card itself is just a white card base, and I just buy these in bulk. Okay. I cut out a strip of paper to be the background strip, and I just stamped a little sentiment right here. Okay. So this background strip is 5.5 by 2.5. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. 5.5 by 2.5. And then the strip that I'm going to nestle inside of it that just coordinates with the colors. Scooch that over a tiny bit. Coordinates with the colors. This one is 5.5 by 2. So that's just going to leave me a little 1/4 inch at the top and the bottom. Okay. Just nestle that in there. And if your papers do not quite meet the edge, you can always just add a tiny bit more ink to kind of blend that a bit and hide any imperfections. Okay, so there's my card base, pretty much ready to go. Okay, let's go back to the butterfly, because I want to show you just a quick accent with this. On this particular one, added a layer of Stardust stickles. I'm just going to put a little bit here on my paper. And I'm going to give that a quick brush. Okay. And you're just going to go over this entire surface. Okay. It gives just a little bit of a shimmer to your butterfly. And if you're like me, you've probably collected stickles along the way, and maybe you use them and maybe you don't. I find that I am collecting stickles more than I use them. And when I discovered this technique, it was kind of opened up a door to get my stickles out and just add a little glittery touch, with which I like. I never was a huge fan of kind of the raised lines of stickles, but I sure like this, and it's so quick and easy to do. Okay, so I've got just a light layer of my stickles on there. Now I'm going to need to let that dry, so we're going to set this piece aside again and give that some time to dry, and I'll show you what else I did to embellish this card. Okay. I grabbed some jewel dots for this, just to bring out that purple a little bit more. And I'm just using the very smallest little set and doing 3 little accents. And I'm going to do 3 little accents also down at the bottom. Okay, so I would just line those up. Doesn't need to be a lot. It's just that little pop of color. Really makes it look kind of fancy. And if you are a crafter, you know how special it is when you get something handmade by someone. And I think that most of the people that we share our goodies with feel the same way. Okay. So that is ready to have this butterfly cut out, inked around the edge, and attached. I'll show you what my finished product looks like. After I cut it out, I just did a light ink around the edge with a brown, it's a vintage photo, also a Tim Holtz distress ink, and added some antennas. Okay, this one I happen to have stamp thank you on. Okay, so I adhered this one just kind of off to the edge a little bit. I did another one. This one is a happy birthday card. I used purple and yellow. This one I just did a black doodle line around the outside edge and then did the body with the jewels. And I put this one straight instead. So a little bit different look. This one I also jogged off to the side and added some jewels. Looks totally different, just that change in color palette. Okay, big difference. This one I also went over with a jelly roll pen that just leaves a little bit of a shimmer. And again, you probably can't see it. It's beautiful in person. And then this is the last example for today. This one I used a light green ink and then a turquoise and a purple. I went over all of the accents with some glossy accents, so it's actually shiny and a little bit raised. That's kind of a fun look on that card as well. So hopefully you guys learned a new way or a reminder of a way to use your stencils today. If you like this video, let me know. If there's things that you would like me to share in the future, please leave a comment, give me an idea, and take a second, hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you'll get notified when I have my next video. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.